Lindsey, you just have the most infectious smile. And yeah, I love seeing you. You're such a light in our word. And I would love to hear your converting experience in your life um, that you can share to maybe help and inspire some people.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I have to say that God has been a huge part of my life from the very beginning, and He's a constant companion for so many different reasons. And I could go into so many different stories of how He has saved me, how He has brought me peace, how He's brought me security and love. But there's one that stood out to me that I really wanted to share that has continued to be an impact in my life. So to kind of start off this story, I have always been a music nerd. I I play a whole bunch of different types of instruments and I sing.
Wow.
And usually when I started off in my music career prowess in high school, I would wake up probably around like 5 in the morning, practice for an hour of piano, then go to school, come home, then do another 3 hours of piano practice, an hour to an hour and a half of vocal practice, then a half an hour of violin, and then additionally schoolwork and other things too. So very, very heavy into music.
That's your life.
Very much my life at that point. And it was necessary because I had gotten to the point where I honed my craft well enough where I was doing concerto competitions. And that requires you to have a good 20-40 page music memorized for the competition. So it took a lot of extra work to make that happen. So, and I dedicated that time so that I could. So all in all, my life was very, very much centered around music. And to all of my friends, to all of my family members, I was always known as the person who was always doing the music. The person who was always involved in that. Got to college, and that was exactly what I expected to do as well with my life. I really, really wanted to get into the music program at BYU, become a music teacher, and teach other people about the passions and beauties of music.
Wow.
But no matter how many times I tried, and it was extensive, I tried multiple times, I couldn't get into the program. And it was a life-shattering experience for me because, like I said, that was my life. And that was how I identified to myself and to everybody else around me. So because I wasn't good enough for the program, by virtue of that, I personally wasn't good enough for anything or anyone.
Wow.
And consistently during that time as well, I had thing after thing after thing after thing fall through, or thing after thing after thing that kept happening. Family members died, committed suicide, all different types of things, and everything was just creating this massive chasm of darkness in my life. And I got angry, very, very angry with God. Because I had felt at that point in my life that I was doing my best to follow Him. I read my scriptures consistently. I was going to church, I was praying, doing all of the quote-unquote checklist item things that God has asked us to do, and our church leaders have told us that if we do that, we'll receive blessings. And I was like, Lord, what the heck? You told me, or people have told me, that if I do these things that I'll get a blessing out of the result. And yet everything is falling apart. And I don't even know who I am in the midst of this anymore. I don't even know if you care anymore. And I felt during that time a vast majority of my prayers were me telling God that, or saying, I know you don't care about me, but could you help somebody else who desperately needs help? I know that I'm not ever going to be enough for you to actually give me something, but there's this other person who really needs something. So if you could help them, that would be great. And I was dating somebody at that time as well, and he started to teeter off as that happens, and I was ironclad trying to white knuckle him into staying, because that was literally the one thing in my life at that time that was constant, that was consistent, and that made me feel like I was something to someone. And then he fell off too. He left me, and again I was left with nothing. So over the course of a year, I was not talking to God very much. Because I didn't feel like He cared about me. So why would I invest any time in Him? But then over a little bit of time, after not necessarily falling away. I would go to church. I would do all the quote-unquote things, but I was very much just an empty shell of an individual, just doing the rote things because everyone else said that that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was doing it.
Yeah.
And I came to the conclusion that I didn't want to live that life anymore, that I wanted to explore the possibility of light again.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, I may not believe currently that God cares, but I do know that he is a source of light to other people.
Yeah.
So maybe, just maybe, he could be that for me. And I offered a prayer. It was like, Lord, I know you don't care about me. And I remember saying that, and it's crazy to me that I said that, but I did. I said, I know you don't care, but I'm lost, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do with my life. So if you could give me some guidance, some light, even if it's just a little bit, that would be wonderful. And I opened the scriptures, because that was during the time where people said, hey, if you open the scriptures randomly, sometimes God will give you things. And I decided to give that a try. And the scripture was very much about serving a mission.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, absolutely not. I'm not going to serve a mission. Why on earth would I serve a mission for somebody who has done nothing for me? And it was consistently over months where I received that same message but denied it and said, there is no way. But then after time, because a lot of times these things take time, it was about a week before General Conference, and I'd been told by a lot of friends and a lot of associates that if I go to General Conference with a question, just a simple question, that God will answer that question.
Mm-hmm.
So I knelt down again and I said, Lord, I think that I'm in a place where I want to have faith in you, where I want to believe that there's some element of hope in my life and that I can have purpose. So I've been told that if I go to conference with a question, that you'll receive it and you'll answer me.
Yeah.
So am I supposed to serve a mission? Because I've received this over and over again. And that was the year that they changed the age for missionary work for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. Probably one of the most powerful experiences of the Spirit that I've ever felt in my life. And usually for me, when I receive the gift of the Spirit, it's either through words or through emotions. So I feel a manifestation of happiness, or just this overwhelming light, or powerful sunshine is probably another descriptor that I would use for this for me. And oftentimes it's also words he uses. And this time it was an amalgam of both, where I didn't quite interpret it, and it's taken me some time to actually interpret it. But I was flabbergasted at the result of what was announced during this conference. But then the words that I received from the Spirit were, Lindsey, I know you're hurting, and I know you've been through a lot, and I know that you have felt that I wasn't there for you. But I am here to say I will never leave you or forsake you, ever. I care so much about you. And there are other people in the world that I care about too. And they need me. And I need you to be there for them so that they can know me. And I know that you aren't in a position where you believe that I care about you, but I do. And you don't have to serve, but I'm asking you, will you? It was always my choice. God never ever forces anybody into anything. We have the choice to do what we want to do. But because I made the decision to follow God, even though I was terrified to do so, and even though I still had those feelings of pain and those feelings of not trusting him completely, serving a mission was one of the most beautiful experiences that showed me how much God cares about us as people and how much enoughness we have within us.
I love it.
We are
Enoughness.
absolutely incredible jewels in the eyes of God, precious in his sight. And that was something that really was driven home on my mission too. God cares so much about us, and he will do everything in his capacity to save us.
Thank you, Lindsey.